welcome to another episode of the All Loon podcast. I honestly feel so grateful that we get to connect with so many different women and hear your business story. So, first of all, thank you for coming and speaking to us today.
Oh, thank you.
And I will pass the floor to you. Tell us about you, tell us about your business and what it is that you do. That would be great.
Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me on. This is my first podcast, so yeah, a bit nervous, but I think it's going to be great. So thank you so much. I love
You're
everything that you
welcome.
do as well. So my name is Braid. I'm the founder of One of Seven, which is a home fragrance brand, and I started the brand around about 2018. I had a corporate job for 10 years. And I just had a massive breakdown, and I wanted to find a product that kind of helps me with my mindset. So, but I wanted it to be I wanted it to be a bit different in the sense that it's not just about candles. Like I wanted like a bigger meaning behind it. So I was looking at the whole like like spirituality and like your senses and your energy points. One of the seven chakra points kind of like resonated with me. So I thought, that's a really great name, One of Seven. So the whole premise is like every scent relates to like a different energy point depending on
Ah,
what you need it for. But I wanted the brand to be like even bigger than that. So it's not just about the sense, it's about the visual aspect, but it's also about the wording, because these are the kind of things that like, words and music, they
yeah.
help reset your mindset and your tone. So I wanted to bring that into a brand and products to help people that, are very high functioning, depressive people like I am, because you never tell from like people
No.
looking at me, but like, we need all these elements in life to help us through. So hence why I started the brand. Yeah. So
I love the One of Seven. I must admit, when obviously I've seen your content before and I did a little bit of research prior to this, I assumed the One of Seven was like a seven senses. So that's really a seven senses? Yeah, senses.
yeah.
I had to rehear that in my head. So it's really interesting to actually hear that it's not about your senses, it's actually about just scent.
Yeah, so it's energy points. So it's the seven chakras.
Wow.
So for example, we've got a scent called Ethan Echo, which was based around the root chakra. So
Okay.
those specific scents, I researched into what scents help with balancing that area.
Okay.
Grounding, you want to feel rooted. I wanted
Yeah.
the scents to be very kind of, there's a lot of like a patchoulis and those kind of scents in there. So I try to make sure every single scent relates to those, whatever energy point. We've got another scent coming out called ethereal, which is for the heart
Ooh.
chakra. So it's all florals and stuff, and so
Oh,
things
that's
like that.
dreamy.
Yeah.
So if I'm shopping on your website, how are you sort of marketing your product? It's a very unique way to sell candles. I do know of another lady who sells candles based on stories, so you can create a story, if you've lived a story, send it to her, and she creates a scent for you. How, if I've gone onto your website, I'm completely new and I've just landed there, am I looking for how are your products labeled? How does that all sort of resonate and end up back customer facing?
So there's still a lot of work that needs to be done.
I'm
Because
asking the hard questions.
yeah, no, this is good because like it makes me think, because I feel like I could definitely do a lot better with like making sure like the meaning behind the brand comes across when you go to the website. At the moment, it's laid out, it's laid out with the different product areas, and let's say you click on candles, you'd select the scent, and on there, like I have the sorry, I'm going to pause for a second.
It's okay.
I'm going to pause for a second. So on there, I have the scent note. So it specifically gives you the scent notes. It gives you a description of the scent and what it relates to. So
Oh,
every
okay.
single one back on, I kind of just have one here.
Here's one I provided earlier.
Oh, yeah, yeah. So on the product imagery, you have the actual candle itself, and then on the back of it, it shows you. Well, when I was talking about like the whole wording,
Wow.
like a little affirmation every candle. So this wording is in the text of it of on the website, but also
Yeah.
in the visually as well. So you're able to like kind of get a sense of what it will make you feel like even before you actually smell it. If that makes
I
sense.
love
So,
that.
yeah. So that's kind of how I've labeled it out and stuff. Yeah.
No, I love that. So I'm a big candle person. I always have a candle lit and I've always been that way. And I've recently been on a bit of a candle journey. I bought some really cheap candles just thinking, oh, they'll be fine. And my whole window went black, and I thought, oh my gosh. And I'm not gonna lie, it took me ages to work out that it was from the candle, and I just kept burning it, and it kept getting more and more black. I'm naturally a bit blonde, if you're not sure, if that didn't make it clear. Just keep burning it, things just keep going black. I don't know what's happening. um
And that's another thing as well with like the ingredients. I want to make sure that the ingredients. So I don't just source my ingredients from just anywhere. Like they're very reputable companies. So like I
yeah,
don't use paraffin based wax. They're all they're all sustainable waxes. I use coconut soy, and even down to the fragrance oils that I use, like they're all paraben and phthalate free. Because one thing is, like everything that we smell, we touch, it all goes internally. Like we have to be
yeah,
careful. So like I make sure like the companies that I use to get all of my ingredients, they're all like vetted to make sure that they're the best ingredients, because it's not just visual, it's not
yeah,
just scent, but it also, there's, that we have to be careful with what, we put on our bodies and stuff. So,
100%. And I feel like, do you know what, I do so well, and then I'll have one day where it just doesn't stop.
oh, it is your attention.
I'll just go shut him in a different room. So
Okay,
sorry.
that's okay.
Nicholas, ouch. It's usually when the kids come home. We live on a new build estate, so you can just see everything, can't you? They're all so closed.
Yeah, he's
There we
excited.
go. Anywho, where was I? I had a really good question. Ah, yes. So you sound like you've kind of been running for such a long time. You sound like you're really knowledgeable. Where did you start? You said we kind of touched on the reputable brands. If I wanted to start a candle business and I came to you and said, I want it to be high quality, I don't know where to start, where do I even go and find a supplier? Where is it that you'd recommend somebody kind of day one? What do they do?
Day one, I would say carve out what it is what what do you want your brand to be known for? Like that's the biggest thing. There's obviously different. There's, in my opinion, there should be multitude of aspects of what your brand to be like.
Yeah,
Ingredients has to be very important. Do your research and take your time.
yeah.
There's a lot of resources out there with research. You can do a candle making workshop as like your first touch point.
Ah,
There's lots of YouTube videos that you can start off with, like learning about the different type of waxes, how they burn, the different types of fragrances, whether you want to go down fragrance oil route or essential oil route. There's different, the safety measures as well for different size of things. um when you start then looking at the suppliers, like request safety data sheets and really research
okay.
that. Also test. I can't bang on about this enough, because you can create a candle,
Yeah,
great, create it, you sell it, the customer takes it, burns it, it doesn't burn well. One, maybe there's no cold scent throw, there's no hot scent throw, or like your it starts a tunnel, things like that, like is detrimental to your brand. So I think a lot of people don't realize that it takes a lot of
yeah,
money to start before you even like launch your brand, to make sure you
yeah,
test. I could, as an example, I always say this to people because I do kind of making workshops as well. I always say, look, I could think that I've got this fragrance oil. No, I've got this wax, which I've got the
yeah,
wax, I've got it down. Great, we're gonna go with coconut soy wax, right? So I'm testing it in this fragrance with this wick with this vessel. Oh, it works great, burns were amazing, and I do the same thing but with another fragrance. The
yeah.
candle can say to me, no, 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 no. Yeah. So sometimes you have to like
Wow.
the wick size. It could be that the wick size is just small or too big for that fragrance. So testing is a big part of it, really big part, because it is detrimental to your brand if a customer buys it
Yeah,
and it doesn't perform well. People talk, and also it's
yeah,
just a little bit on you. So I would say your research and take your time in testing. Don't just have an idea, make candle launch. No, I've been in this
yeah,
game now since 2018. When I first started, I launched in 2020 after 2 years of like proper testing. I took time off because I had my son, and I was a brand new mom. That whole aspect of life, you need time to
wow.
like what's happening. So I took like 3 years off, and I just just recently come back to it. But even before the initial launch, I just make sure that you
Yeah,
get things right, and you want to have your bank of your suppliers in hand as well. Um, I can go into stories and stories about before lockdown what happened with the candle industry and all that. As people
yeah,
they were buying wax off Amazon, and then it wasn't performing, and you're like
yeah.
all those things. So yeah,
I had no idea there was so much to it. It's very much, I feel like every industry is a bit like that. You see it from the outside and you think, oh, that's so easy. Like
Yeah.
any old Muppet could do it. And then actually, there's just so much to it.
There's so much to it, and I initially wanted to try to talk more about like the behind the scenes of things, and then you
Yeah.
have some people go, oh, don't show those side of things. But I'm the kind of person, I'm very, what you see is what you get. Like, I like to be very authentic, so I do try and talk about and show the aspects of, like, starting a brand and what it takes to that goes into candles and stuff. But at the same time, you don't want to bore people. You want, because the people, some that come to my page, they just want a candle for whatever reason. They don't really care about the science behind it. So
Yeah.
there's always a balance when it comes to content. I have to make sure that I'm servicing everyone the right way equally. If that makes sense. So yeah.
I agree, and I think it's really hard to get that balance between that educational piece. Some businesses call for that. Obviously, I work with entrepreneurs, so that education piece is a big part of my content. But like you say, B2C wise, if I was buying a candle, would I care? I don't think I would.
Yeah.
I think it's really interesting, and I love hearing about it from a business perspective now. But as a consumer, I don't think, like you say, a 10-minute video, not that I wouldn't care, but a 10-minute video, like say, about the actual molecular breakdown.
Yeah.
I want to know, does it look nice? Does it smell nice? All those very basic things and the cost.
Yeah.
So it must be really tricky as a B2C. I always say, oh, I'd love to be a product person. And then I speak to product people and I go, yeah, no, I wouldn't. That sounds way too complicated. I don't know how you guys still do it.
So complicated, and somebody just think like I'm doing it right, and then somebody like, oh, like this is not working, but why isn't it working? Like, it's I always say, like, you're always still learning. I'm always still
Yes.
learning, and you will never get it right 100%, like, ever. Like, there's always, and this is kind of like what I love, actually, of being a brand owner as well. Like, I love the learning part of it, and I love, like, the pivoting. I love the word pivot. You try something else
Yes.
where you pivot and you learn from other people and you grow, you grow, you grow. You could get up there, but then something else comes in, you're like, oh, there's always a challenge. Like, I don't know, I find it quite exciting. I think maybe it's because the way my brain works. Like, I need something to, like,
It's that stimulating.
yeah, exactly. If
Yeah.
everyone was like this all the time, I'm like,
Oh, boring.
I'm bored. So
Yeah.
yeah, we just keep pivoting and learning and see what works, what doesn't resonate, and trying to hear from the customers as well. Like, in
Yeah.
my workshops, I like to talk to customers and, like, get their take on things and feedback and stuff. So yeah.
The workshop's really interesting. Is that something that evolved sort of post launch, or is that something you always wanted to do as part of the brand?
Kind of a bit of both. Like,
Okay.
I like to teach. Um, but I didn't have the resource to do it then. Moving to the area I moved to now, it kind of happened organically. So I did quite a few markets over Christmas, and then
Okay.
there's one space in my local town that was just perfect for it. And this guy was he's trying to get more, like, visibility on his space. So we kind of, we did a really, and also in my area, no one was doing kind of making workshops. So I wanted to bring something for, a lot of us mums. I have a lot of mum groups and stuff. It's something
Okay.
for us to do that's interesting. But also, I'm like, I like to teach, and I have this space that I've come across. Someone who wants me to, so it just all kind of came aligned around December time. So yes, I've been doing that for the last. I think I did one in December, one in March. I'm doing another one in April, and it's, yeah, the feedback has been really great. And like I said, it's another way to, like, without having doing like a community event, I
Yeah.
can get the feedback from a community, if that makes sense. So it's a win-win for everyone, really. So
I love that. And there's such a big consensus at the minute around community. So many brands are doing it. We've seen it comes up pretty much every podcast at the minute, like Refi, even down some of the smaller brands. They're all doing it. Even like, as All Loon, we do our events every month.
mm,
And I think it's such an amazing way to bring the customers in
yes,
without it feeling salesy. It's the
yeah,
last thing you want from that event.
yeah, 100%. And also, it's like you're giving back to them as well.
Yeah.
Like, it's, they're having a chance to be a part of the process at a fraction of the price, and sometimes free, and they feel like they have a say in your if
Yeah.
people buy into something, they feel like, I don't know, they have a say in it. I don't know if that makes sense,
They've
but
had an opinion, so you kind of
yeah.
care a bit more.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. And it's nice to touch
Yeah.
point with people and, like, put actual real time face to, gone are the days where things were done like super glossy and super,
Yeah.
like, this is the Vogue, there's still a room for that as well, but, like, human interaction and authenticity is kind of where things are now,
Yeah,
So
it's so much more valuable.
100%,
So,
100%.
in terms of your marketing and your strategy, obviously, I found you on TikTok and I followed you a little while before you had commented, which is great. Where is it that you put your time? And have you found anything that's kind of absolute, you've tried it, hated it, or found anything that has worked kind of completely that you'd never expected it to?
Well, that's a good question. When it comes to marketing and strategy, I don't feel like I don't feel like I'm doing it great.
Okay.
I'm just freeballing.
I love the honesty.
I am. So I am very much. I like to think I've got strategy, but I'm very like off the moment. Sometimes
Okay.
when you see me come on camera, it's because I've thought about that thing there and then. It's off the cuff, and then I feel like those kind of work better than sometimes when I've tried to plan it.
Yes.
If I'm being completely honest, I don't know what I'm doing. I just like to show up authentically me. I don't do scripting. I don't do any of that. I'm just like, I know the love and the passion I have for this brand, and I know how it would change people's lives because it's how it's changed my life. So
Yeah.
I just come up and show up and just be me because I feel like you can relate to that more than me trying to be something I'm not.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe it's my age as well. Like I'm too old, I'm too grown to be. Yeah, I just like, you know what? Like, let's just be authentic. Like
Yeah.
I don't shy away of being. I just talk about whatever and then just see what resonates. So there's not really a much strategy. I
Yeah.
think if I want to scale the business, I need to look at that side of things and do it properly. But for now, I just show up. I mean, and I don't think there's any aspects of marketing that I don't enjoy. Like I enjoy going on camera and just
Yeah.
talking. Like TikTok is quite new with my brand. I've been on Instagram for a number of years now. I think everyone went on Instagram in
Yes.
lockdown. I had a YouTube channel which is still active. I haven't posted in like 4 years.
Okay.
I don't shy away from actually the only thing that I'm not very confident at is okay, so we're doing a podcast now, which is
Yeah.
fine. But if I have to stand in front of the room of people, like I'm actually, I feel hot just thinking about it. In a room in front of people and do like like a special guest speaker. Oh
Yeah.
yeah, I panic.
Really? That's so interesting. You wouldn't think that to kind of meet you.
I don't do it. And interestingly, my old career was I was a retail buyer, so
Oh,
I had
wow.
to do all the sign offs and the meetings with the heads off. So I had to stand
Yeah.
in front of people and like show ranges and stuff. But I'm still not that confident person. So that's the only aspects of things I'm like, oh, if I have to do it, I
Wow.
will. But I
Yeah.
don't enjoy that at all.
That's so interesting. And I think it's really interesting, as you kind of touched on, when you scale your business, how many things you need to bring in. My thing is numbers. I get really flustered. I don't understand numbers. Every other aspect, the strategy, the marketing, the product, the development, the planning, events, all of that I love. But when it
Mm.
comes to sitting down and doing the numbers, I would actually, in fact, I can think of 100 things I'd rather do that I probably can't say on camera. It usually ends in tears. So my biggest thing was the second I can outsource that, that'll
Yeah,
be outsourced. And I think for small business owners, the first person you outsource to is the scariest step.
it is because you're giving away part of something that you've
It's your baby.
yes, your baby, and you're letting him in.
Yeah.
So I'm actually in talks with somebody to come help me with, the
Wow.
social media side of things because another thing that I struggle with at the moment is time.
Yes.
So I've got a 3-year-old son who's very, wants mommy all the time.
Of
I've
course.
multiple other businesses as well that I do, in addition to being a content creator. So I have to find. I want everything to have enough visibility, enough time, and I'm slowly realizing that I cannot be a one of one and
Yeah. Of
scale anything that I'm doing. And I want everything to be successful because it's all important. So
course.
I'm in the process of, working with somebody who would, I don't know how it's going to work. I don't know how it's going to work. But we'll see. But like, I think it's important to like be very open minded to be like, it doesn't mean that you're a failure and that you haven't,
No.
if you decide to bring someone in. So those are the kind of things I kind of tell myself. So
100%. I think it's actually the opposite. So I used to work as a sales and marketing manager for startups, mostly tech. That was kind of where I came from. And I never understood it. And I used to work with these founders, and I'm like, God, just let it go. You've hired me. Trust me. Why can't you? And I used to be completely open and honest. I used to rip them to shreds, and I used to get so angry that these people couldn't just understand that you've hired an expert. Just let me do my job.
100%.
But now on the other side of it, I'm thinking, oh God, the thought of having to give this to someone else. I'm like, no one will do it as good as I will. And the sales is always going to be tricky for me because it is what I do.
Yeah.
So it is very much, if I'm hiring in, it would be to fill those other areas. I do, at this moment in time, truly believe no one could sell my business how I sell it because it's my background. But eventually that won't be the case and I will need someone else.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
that's terrifying.
But once you've set a foundation, and
Yeah.
they, especially like you said, the first one you bring on as well, as long as they've got the Loom DNA or the one of seven DNA,
Yeah.
then then it'll feel a little bit more easier to just let go and not
Yeah.
micromanage. I hate being micromanaged. I remember
Same.
telling someone off back in the day, my old job, don't micromanage me. So I would never want to do that with somebody, but it's taken a long time to find the person that I thought, okay, do you know what? I'm comfortable enough to let
Yeah.
you, because she's somebody that loves the brand. Um she's bought into the brand before. I know her, and I
I
just
love
feel
that.
more. And also, I need someone who is real. I can't do
Yes.
inauthenticity. I can't do fake. I can't. I see through all that now.
Yeah.
So if I get a sense that you're not where, like, it needs to work with the brand
It does.
mission statement and where I want to be. So luckily, so far so good.
So far, so good. Oh,
Yeah.
well, I wish you the best of luck. I'd love to find out kind of, and I feel like this is always quite a tricky one for founders. I will pretty much die on this hill that every founder has either been like scammed or wasted money, had a trauma, had something happen to them. And I actually think a lot of the time it makes the brand.
Mm,
Um, what is it? If is there a day or something you went through as a part of a brand owner that really for you just stands out as, like I say, that really traumatic or something really horrific that happened to you in that moment? You might look back on it now and go, actually, it really wasn't that bad, or maybe it was.
mm.
One of our girls was scammed out of £10,000. That was as bad as it sounded. It didn't get better later on down the line.
Yeah, I think I know who you're talking about as well. Like, that was horrific.
That was horrific.
God, I can't believe it happened to her. So, something similar happened to me as well. It was around Christmas, and I was launching wax melts, and at that point, my buyer brain hadn't told me to do a critical path, which is like a planner.
Okay.
When I need to create stuff and launch it, but I was like, for me, it was like a last minute. I need packaging, so I went design the packaging. I went
Yeah.
online. I didn't look at the reviews. This is where I went wrong.
Ooh.
Found this brand, found this packaging designer, put something to work, and they were very, like, in the beginning stages. They were very open. The communication was very quick. They promised me, and I said, I'm very tight deadline. Promise, 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 promise. Okay, sent the money, and these are another, like, red flags that I should have, like, noted. It wasn't an invoice. They gave me a link or a bank. Yeah. Anyway, so when I paid
Yeah.
the money, and the guy, they said to me, it was based in the UK. On their website, it's all UK. Eventually, it transpired they weren't based in the UK. My packaging wasn't coming from anywhere in the UK, very, very far. Yeah. And the communication really slowly died down. So now it was like coming to crunch time, like all the markets were happening. I need to get this thing.
Yeah.
And I remember going on their website, talking to somebody, another somebody, who then transpired to tell me, there's nothing you can do about it now, da 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 da, all that kind of stuff. And it was just like my desperation to get this thing to market. I didn't do my due diligence.
No.
And it was massive lessons learned, because when I went back after the fact and looked at their reviews, it would transpire that they'd done that to so many different brands and stuff.
No.
Yeah, it wasn't 10 grand. It was literally like, a couple of £100s, but still, it was
Still.
so heartbreaking, because I felt like, one, how could you do that to another a brand, a
Yeah.
small brand,
Small
and two,
brand.
also looking back within, like, do your due diligence, Braid. Like, you can't. I know you were desperate, but you need to do things properly. Anyway, so I went back and then like rewired my buyer brain. Now I've got my
Yeah.
critical path. So I know that I've got enough time in my buying calendar. I say buying, so I'm just going to keep going back to that.
Yeah.
To put a packaging into work when I need to. So there's no last minute, and I have enough time to research reputable brands. Like I want to meet them in person, which I've
Yeah.
got someone local to me, very close to where my brother lives. I've gone into their offices now. This is a new packaging designer, a manufacturer. So those things are put into place. But so from a small brand owner to another brand, if you're watching this, like do your due diligence. Don't rush
Yeah.
it. Take your time. Don't pay for something via link.
Yeah.
Ask
Yeah.
for an invoice because when I tried to get my money reversed from the bank, I got told off for all those things. They said, you shouldn't have,
Wow.
you should have an invoice and you don't, I think something like you don't do a bank transfer. Yeah, don't do bank transfers. And if I can, get a business credit card because I think that protects you better than actually having your debit card. So,
Yes.
this is all part of learning.
It is.
Sometimes it takes a lot of money
And
learning.
do you know, this is my biggest issue at the minute. Like, and this is part of why All Loom came about, because where else were you going to find that information that a credit card is better, that don't buy through a link? And and it's all these things that no, you don't learn it in school. It's not something that typically your friends talk about down the pub or at the mum's park or wherever it is that you hang out. And
Yeah.
this is my biggest issue. Like, where we don't go to the golf course typically. I don't play golf. I'm terrible at it.
I just, yeah.
Yeah. So where are you going for that information? And this is absolutely like the driving force. And every time I do a podcast like this, it just reaffirms the need for this. So, like, for example, we've got a podcast week after the second
Hmm.
or third, the first Wednesday in April,
Yeah.
where we have two girls that have created, scaled, sold their beauty business. And they're coming on to talk all things like, say, business credit cards, taxes, national insurance. If you're a director, you have to take two national insurances and all of this stuff that you would just never know. And I got a £5,000 fine this year from the tax man.
Mm.
Yeah. And that was partly my fault. So my accountant, and again, I didn't do my due diligence. My accountant said that I don't need to save tax in my first year. So I didn't.
Oh my gosh.
What I should have done is done the research, and probably what I assume they meant was you don't need to save as much, or I started in August, so maybe they meant till December. I don't know. But yeah, that hit me with a £5,000 fine. And I'm like, I'm a baby business. I don't have that.
Hmm.
But people just don't talk about money. Like I've always said, if someone wants to ask what I earn and where it comes from, I'll happily tell you. Unless
Yeah.
it's in like a couple of my clients, like email marketing clients, I can't. But most of them I can. I don't care. Money's money. Like it just doesn't phase me. But I think there's this stigma as against pitting us small female business owners
Yeah.
against each other.
Yeah. And I feel like it's kind of like it's almost like a taboo not to really show the
Yeah.
rawness behind things. And like, who does it benefit? Like, it doesn't, you're helping someone else out. Like, those information, you don't hear it from anybody
No.
anywhere. Like, no one talks about. A few people, luckily, are very open and honest and talk about it. But I feel like a lot of brands will just show like, oh, the good part and like
Yeah.
the nitty
How I
gritty.
scaled to, 7 figures.
Yeah.
Yeah, but in 3 steps, did you do that? I don't think you did. I think there was tears and sleepless nights and missed birthdays and missed dinners and snapping at your husband or wife.
Yeah.
Like, that's not shown. And I love this new theme on TikTok now that we're all just sharing open and honestly. The amount of owners I've seen crying on TikTok, I just think is brilliant.
Yeah, I think it's important to know because if you're another brand owner, if entrepreneur who wants to get into the game, you
Yeah,
need to know the reality of what you get into because it's not all roses here. It is hard work, it's late nights, it's like you said, tears, it's
yeah.
disappointment. It's 1 minute you're up here, next minute you're down there. And it's just like understanding that one, you're not alone,
Yeah.
like it doesn't make you a failure because
No,
actually we're all going through very similar. And two, that you can reach out and, there's another person who's got the resource that can help you with
there
those
will
things.
be someone else that can
Yeah.
help.
Yeah. So like I'm constantly on TikTok, like looking at, what other people are saying. I'm like, okay,
Yeah,
got that. And it's just, I think it's very interesting. And I love the way like us female founders really helping each other out
yeah.
now. Like I think it's so refreshing. It
I
wasn't
agree.
like that 10 years ago, trust me.
No.
I've been in the corporate world and I've seen it all.
Ooh.
Um, yeah, but it's just nice, and
Yeah.
you sleep better at night when you're a nice person. Like it's just there's no
I
need.
sleep great.
Yeah,
I
same. I just not trying to ruin someone else's experience. You
Yeah,
want to help. It's nice. Yeah.
100%. So I always like to finish the podcast with two questions. One is easy, I think, and one is a bit tougher. Would you prefer
Okay.
the easy or the hard?
Let's
First,
let's go hard first.
everyone has said that. There
Really?
must be some psychology in this.
Okay. I don't know what it is, but yeah, go on.
Okay, so what is one thing that you wish you had known from the start, or that you don't know now, that you feel like you should know, that maybe you might be a little bit embarrassed to admit? Like mine, for example, was I don't know the difference between a limited company and a non limited company. I have since learnt.
Okay.
And one of mine was I don't understand how Instagram verification works. And I just feel like I should know it, and I don't. I do again. I've gone away and learnt it. I
Yeah.
don't have one for this week, and I probably should have thought of it. So I'll let you go first. But yeah, what is one thing that maybe you don't know that you just think you should?
One thing I don't know. Oh my god, this is a hard one. It
It's
is
a
actually hard.
it's a really hard question. I feel like I should prepare people in advance, but I feel like then you think about it too much.
Yeah, but I'm thinking about it now though.
Yeah.
Where's one thing that I feel like I should know but I don't know?
Or mine's Excel spreadsheets. I might use that for this week. I don't know how Excel works. It terrifies me.
The thing with me is like I just like I'll learn it. YouTube is my saving grace. So things like that I'll learn it and I'll what is one thing that I should know? I think I have to probably go back to the tax thing
Yeah.
because up until recently, I'm sorry to steal your one,
No, you do you.
but I wanted to because I was just like I want to set up my company as a limited. I want something as a limited. I felt like that's what I needed to do,
Yeah.
but I didn't understand like all of the extra tax implications that come with being a limited company and the corporate tax and things like that. Um, Also how to file my taxes. I could just generate like
I
I
have
didn't.
no idea.
I think that's actually that's the biggest one for me because obviously I've been PAYE my whole life. I haven't,
Yeah.
and my accountant when she asked me for all these things, and I was just like I'm so disorganized with my personal bank account and my business, like all of it is just all over the place. So as a business owner, that's one thing I feel like if I'd known from the beginning, it would have made my life easier. This tax that just went by, like without,
Yes.
and thank God for her because she was very, very patient with me,
Good.
and more my stuff was just all over the place. But yeah, it's quite embarrassing when you're a business owner, you don't know that stuff.
Do you know what? I think we're all the same. I actually do. I just think, and again, it's just not something that we're taught. How
Mm-mm.
am I supposed to learn it? And like I said, I'm just not a numbers girl, and I just find it so overwhelming.
It's boring.
Yeah, it is.
Boring.
It's dull. It
I just,
sucks.
yeah, I want to make pretty candles and
Yeah,
done.
and talk about it on camera.
Exactly, exactly. But luckily, because
Okay,
I'm a by merchandise background, I knew that I needed to get like some sort of like costing spreadsheet and stuff like that done. So I knew
that's
my
good.
margins and stuff. But I still, my sister's a merch now, so I still beg her to do it for me. Can you
I love
just,
that.
please, can you just do the numbers? Thank you.
Please send help.
Yeah, exactly.
I love that. Okay, so my easy question, and if it's not easy, then I can't help you. If I'm on my way over to your house, we're going to do a big cram study session with filing our taxes, our VAT. I'm stopping off at Starbucks on the way. What am I bringing you?
Oh, does it have to be Starbucks?
No, it can be anything. It's just you're talking about a coffee shop.
Oh, it has to be a coffee shop.
Has to be a coffee shop. I can't stop at the wine store.
I always go for a oat latte. Always. I'm an oat latte girl
Nice.
going through. It's a good mix of milk and coffee.
I like that.
Yeah,
And
that's
if
it.
I wasn't going to a coffee shop, I'm intrigued. Where would I be going?
You'll be going to Waitrose to get me a bottle of prosecco.
Yeah, fair enough. My kind of girl.
I don't know if you're allowed to show that on here, but I like my prosecco.
Absolutely. Do you know what? I'm absolutely Prosecco girly. I like mine with a little bit of chambord in the bottom.
Oh, I haven't done that for quite a few Christmases now. I haven't done that for a
Yeah,
while.
and I so I threw it basically. I wanted to make some glitter cocktails for my birthday, which is on the 4th of December, so it's really close to Christmas.
Mm.
And we just bought this house, and my partner's like, "No, we're being sensible. Like, you don't need glitter for your party." And I was like, "I want glitter." Through a massive paddy. My mum then organised. I'm no kidding. This box of edible glitter this big of every colour edible glitter, and she was like, "Have
Mom.
it and shut up."
Yes, mom.
So every time I have a glass of wine or anything like that, I'm like, add the glitter. I'm gonna have a sparkly glitter.
I love that. I love that.
Well, that is the end. Thank you so much. I feel like that was really helpful, and hopefully, a lot of the girls listening, if they're either in product or, let's say, going into more candles and fragrances, could potentially reach out to you if they've got any questions. Um,
Please do. I love to share. Share the love.
Amazing, and it was really genuinely amazing to get to know you. And I will be having a little look. Obviously, it's Mother's Day. I feel like I've probably missed the boat for that one, but
Yeah.
I might have a little look and see what I can find. Do you
Amazing.
have a favorite scent before we leave? I feel like
My
it's mum choosing a favorite child.
Yeah, well, my current favorite set actually hasn't launched yet. It's going to be part of
Oh,
the one of seven. There's currently four of the seven launched, but
okay.
this new one, which is called Aura, is not
Oh,
launched yet, and it's my favorite scent. I'm working out when to launch it because I've got so many products launching at the same time.
yeah.
So, but room sprays coming and that, but that scent is
Okay.
just think about. It's like walking to a very expensive hotel lobby, and
Ooh.
you've just got that like exquisite luxury. Like it's just beautiful, but then
Okay.
it's still very like wholesome and grounding, and it's slightly sweet. Oh, it's gorgeous. Anyway,
I love that. I'm excited. Please send me when that launches. I want that one. I'm
I
sold.
will, I will. So yeah, that's my favorite one so far.
Amazing. Well, I'm sure we will speak soon. Thank you so much for coming on.
And thank you for everything that you're doing. I can't wait to see
Oh,
your growth, and I think your what you're bringing to like what the space people need it. Like
oh, thank
it's really
you.
nice and sharing and like other founders coming together and doing stuff. So well done. So
Oh, thank you. Oh, I know I love that. Thank you so much.
thank you so much. Thank you for asking.
Bye.
Thank you.